Hi, I'm Jan Sky from Brain Potential, and welcome to Brain Potential Insights. In this podcast, I welcome Phil Holdsworth from the UK. Hi,
Hi
Phil.
there, Jan. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Let me tell you, or tell the audience a little about you. Phil founded AurumGold to help organizations improve the financial well-being of their workforce, noticing that there was an increasing demand for services to specifically address money and anxiety among employees. With that in mind, Phil developed a unique approach through money psychology that helps organizations and their people to reduce money anxiety and thrive. Phil has worked with a wide range of organizations such as local government, family law firms, care and residential homes, colleges, central government departments, companies in manufacturing, IT, and finance. His purpose is to effect positive change in the people he helps by improving their confidence, sense of control, and peace of mind when managing their personal finances. So, Phil, you have a passion to bring out that inner feeling around money with the people you work with. Tell us a little more about that.
It's when I look at our approach in the finance world, I see us tackling external issues. So when we talk about financial well-being, generally speaking, um, often organisations will talk about all the externals of what financial well-being is, how healthy your money is, where it's invested, your pensions, your savings, and so on. But nobody ever addresses the biggest influence of our finances, which is us. And having walked that journey myself many years ago in terms of indebtedness and understanding what it means to be anxious about my finances, and also at the same time, with the little knowledge I had, build up a belief structure that catastrophizes the situation. Stress just keeps rising.
Mm.
And if we don't deal with those beliefs that people hold, then, like myself, I know what it feels like, then others will be suffering. And in our world economy at the moment, there will be a lot of people suffering right now and anxious about the future. And so that's why I'm passionate about it, because I know that when people understand themselves and are better able to understand each other, relationships thrive, individuals thrive, the
Mm.
workplace becomes a far better workplace where you get engaged employees and more productive employees. And so I hope my passion comes through on this, but at the end of the day, until we start to address the biggest influence, which is you and I, then we will, with the best laid plans, we will never fully eradicate sort of stress and anxiety from our finances.
Yes, and financial stress is one of the major stressors. And when a person is stressed, you're right, Phil. They do catastrophize because it's a process that goes on in the brain called neural looping. So from this active amygdala down in the limbic region, who's the CEO of all emotional content, up to that creative part of the brain in the right prefrontal cortex, we get neural looping of thoughts and when it's negative you just catastrophize, and so it can bring
Yes.
disastrous results if not addressed.
Exactly. And one of the things that we find with regards to making decisions around money, it's life changing. And oftentimes we can find ourselves in that emotional moment making decisions that are not the right decisions for us. And it needs a rational approach. And yet, 80% of the decision making that we experience often is emotional. And so therefore that process, that loop that you talk about, kicks in quite powerfully, and that can happen with people who are struggling financially, but it can also happen with people who've got plenty of wealth, whose bank
Yes.
balance looks very healthy, and yet still can feel like fear of losing it all. And their behavior then reflects that, and the
Mm.
choices that they make in life reflects that.
So, Phil, what sort of questions would you or conversations would you engage in with your clients to try and elicit the emotional state that they're in with regards to their finances?
There's several things that we look at, apart from values and beliefs, and also unpicking those limiting beliefs. We actually look at what we call our money habitudes. Habitudes
Ah,
is a word, people can look it up in
yes.
the dictionary, but it's the combination of both habits and attitudes towards something, and in this case, toward money. And we look at what those habits and attitudes are that each individual person holds. And we use a process, an assessment process, that enables us to identify what we class as being the money types that people display in terms of their behavior, what their leanings are
Mm,
toward in terms of types of behavior and choices that they make. There are 6 money types. If you look at it on a global scale, it actually in different places will range from 8 money types to 6 money types. But often those 8 you can actually combine one or two of them. And so money habitudes was the one that we just felt that better represented the types of behaviours that people displayed. Once we've gone through that assessment, that means and we've been able to identify maybe the strongest leaning for that individual, we can then also start to unpick the what we call the shadow side, which is those
okay.
behaviors that might inadvertently sabotage our ability to make good financial decisions or achieve our financial goals or future aspirations.
And a lot of that is, as you said earlier, embedded in what we grew up with, some of those beliefs that our parents perhaps instilled in us, or other people that were of an influence to us instilled in us.
Yeah,
My dad
certainly.
my dad would say to me, "You've got to work hard for your money." So there was a belief
Yeah.
I had that if I didn't work hard, I didn't earn any money.
Yeah. And also at the same time, you working hard might also create a belief in you that if you gave some money to somebody else, actually you're undermining their need to work hard to earn that money. And so therefore you might not give. So if you think about charitable giving, that might reflect on the level of charitable giving or your sense of generosity to another person, because you feel that you might be undermining their this importance of working hard for
Hmm.
something.
I hadn't
So
thought of it in that way. So thanks for defining that.
it's interesting when all of us have certain behaviours, and we're never saying to anybody that your behaviour is wrong. It's actually identifying the good behaviour, but at the same time also looking at what might reside there in the shadows.
Mm.
And it's what's in the shadows that creates the stress and the anxiety around money. And what may be in the shadows for somebody who, um, grew up in a family where they were very generous, that they might not think twice about being generous also to other people. And they might think that it's their duty to help other people.
Mm.
Whereas somebody who has grown up in an environment where they're very studious, where they must save. And I had a client who was like this. I actually said to the client, "How often do you check your money?" And she explained to me, ultimately, she was checking it several times a day. And I said to her, "What are you afraid of?" And she just burst
Mm.
into tears. And she said, "I am so stressed about my finances." And as we talked, she began to explain to me her background. And it stemmed from her aunt, from a very young age, would say to her, "You must save, you must save." And she grew up being a great saver and very good with her money. However, she couldn't spend on herself because
Hmm.
she felt that she was letting her aunt down. She felt that guilty and ashamed if ever she spent money on herself. So she would spend it on others, but she wouldn't spend it on herself.
Mm.
And that mindset, you don't realize, you think you're doing good, and you are in part, but also at the same time, it's what other beliefs people start to form from what they see. They see somebody who, in a household, parents struggling with finances, and they decide, we're never going to be like that. I'm never going to be like that. And so when they get money, they could be those who just spend, and they can get credit and they just spend because they can,
Yeah.
or they just don't do anything. They don't spend anything. They just hoard their finances as though I'm never going to be poor. But they hoard it and never really truly live life. So
Mm.
you get lots of different behaviors. And going back to your question about what do you kind of ask these people, I suppose we start to explore their upbringing, their life's experiences. Maybe in that journey we can then sort of identify areas that might actually affect the way they view money and the way they relate to it emotionally.
Mm. So what a wonderful experience to be connected with you at AurumGold. It's not just looking at a bank balance and seeing what we can do and where we can put this and where we can hide that, or where we can, what
Yeah,
we can explore with this. It's about truly looking at the individual to find
yeah,
out what makes that individual tick, and then
yeah,
doing the very best for them moving forward.
yeah. All of us, we have one life, and wouldn't it be great to be able to really thrive in that life and not feel like anything is holding us back in any way? And we might not think it's holding us back, but if we truly stop for a moment, I'm sure all of us will have questions about the choices we make in life, not just about our money. And is it actually helping us to thrive, or is it holding us back? Is it holding us like prison bars? Uh, or do we feel that sense of freedom and stress free or anxiety free approach to our finances?
Oh, it's been wonderful talking with you on this program, Phil. So thank you so much indeed. I
It's
wish
a
you
pleasure.
well at AurumGold, and I know that everyone who has the opportunity to work with you will have a wonderful experience. So thank you for this evening.
Thank you very much, Jan, and really appreciate the invitation to come and speak with you. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
We might touch base again soon. Thanks, Phil.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.